Ever like snap at someone completely out of nowhere?
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, where did that come from?
Oh, yeah.
Like sometimes it feels like our brains have all these like hidden livers that are just like controlling our moods and actions, and we don't even realize it.
Yeah.
Well, today we are diving into this whole world of brain health.
Okay.
With this book, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life.
Okay.
By Dr. Daniel Amen.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
And he believes that we can actually rewire our brains for the better.
Really?
That we can take control of those levers.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
I mean, that's a pretty bold claim, isn't it?
It is.
To say that we can like consciously change the physical structure of our brains.
Yeah.
But I'm open to it. I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, and he uses all this brain imaging to show how different parts of our brains, they light up.
Okay.
Sort of like a control panel, I guess. And it's supposed to reveal how our thoughts and emotions connect to like actual physical activity happening in our brains.
So you can actually see it happening.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like a window into our own minds.
Right.
So how do we use this information then to make changes for the better?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
So how does he break it down?
So he focuses on 5 key brain systems.
Okay.
And he says that understanding these systems is the first step.
Okay. That makes sense.
So the deep limbic system.
Okay.
Think of that as like your internal mood ring.
Okay.
So if it's overactive, you might be prone to those negative thought patterns, always thinking the worst. Right.
Feeling down, or just like you're wading through mental molasses all the time.
Oh, I know that feeling, yeah.
So it's all about keeping that system balanced.
Okay.
What about, have you ever felt like you're constantly on edge?
Oh, all the time, yeah.
Like, is there a system for that?
Yeah, so he talks about the basal ganglia.
Good.
And when that's in overdrive, it's like your brain's alarm system is like stuck on high alert.
Okay.
So it's like fight or flight mode all the time.
Oh, wow.
Leading to, anxiety.
So that's the basal ganglia.
Yeah.
Deep limbic system. Our mood.
Mood, right.
And what about focus?
Okay, yeah.
Sometimes I feel like my brain is a browser with like 20 tabs open.
Totally.
And I can't shut it off.
Yeah, I feel that.
Where's that coming from?
So that's where the prefrontal cortex comes in. It's like the brain's executive assistant.
Okay.
Helping us stay organized, prioritize tasks, resist those tempting distractions like that notification that just popped up on your phone.
Oh, I know.
But if it's sluggish, you might struggle with focus and impulse control.
So if the deep limbic system is our mood, the basal ganglia anxiety, prefrontal cortex focus.
Right, keeping it all together.
What about like when you can't stop thinking about something?
Okay, yeah.
Even if it's something small.
Like a broken record.
Yeah.
Where's that coming from?
He calls the cingulate system kind of like our gear shifter.
Okay.
And when it gets stuck, we can get trapped in those loops of worry, obsessing over things.
All right.
Like you said, like a broken record,
okay,
stuck on repeat. It's amazing how all these different systems have such a specific role.
It's fascinating, right?
What about the last system?
The temporal lobes.
Okay.
These are crucial for memory, learning, keeping our moods stable.
Right.
Think of them as your brain's memory vault.
Right.
Storing those precious moments, song lyrics you can't forget.
Okay.
But when there are issues here, it can lead to mood swings.
Okay.
Feeling like you're on an emotional roller coaster.
I see. So he's connecting all these different brain regions to very specific emotions and behaviors.
Right, exactly.
But how does he actually see this happening? Like, he's not just asking someone how they're feeling.
Right. You're right. This is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
And a bit controversial, I'd say. He uses a type of brain scan called SPECT imaging to visualize activity in these different brain systems.
Wow.
So it's like taking a picture.
So you can actually see it.
You could see it. Yeah, it's incredible.
Wow.
He argues that seeing these scans can help tailor treatments, whether that's medication, therapy, lifestyle changes.
Okay.
It's like having a roadmap of your own brain.
That's fascinating.
Exactly.
But how reliable is this SPECT imaging?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
While SPECT imaging can definitely show brain activity,
okay,
using it to diagnose mental health conditions is still debated.
Okay.
I mean, think about it this way. You wouldn't diagnose someone with a heart problem solely based on their pulse.
Right. Right.
You'd want to look at their medical history, lifestyle, other factors.
It's like using a map to navigate a new city.
Exactly.
It can show you the general layout, but you need to explore the city to really understand it.
You got it.
So SPECT is compelling, But it sounds like we need more research to really say for sure.
I think so, yeah.
What do leading medical institutions say about this approach?
Well, institutions like the American Psychiatric Association, they recommend a more holistic approach.
Okay.
They want to take into account a patient's personal history, their symptoms,
Okay.
not just relying solely on brain scans for diagnoses. They're really emphasizing looking at the bigger picture.
Right, not just one piece of the puzzle.
Exactly.
So SPECT imaging still kind of finding its place in the world.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Dr. Ullman's approach has definitely got people talking.
It has.
But one thing he's really big on is supplements for brain health. So is there anything to that?
Well, that's another area where the scientific community, they don't all agree.
Okay.
While he does suggest, certain supplements can give your brain a boost,
Right.
the evidence is mixed.
Okay.
We need more research.
So it's not as easy as just popping a pill and suddenly you've got a super memory, huh?
Right. If only it were that easy.
Okay.
So, for example, he recommends ginkgo biloba
Okay.
for memory enhancement.
Right, I've heard of that.
But large studies, like one by the National Institute on Aging, found it wasn't effective
Really?
in preventing dementia or cognitive decline.
Wow.
And both the Cleveland Clinic and Mayo Clinic, they say, be careful when it comes to using supplements without, really clear evidence.
So where does that leave us then? If these high-tech scans and supplements aren't a cure-all,
Right.
what does work?
That's the question, right?
Yeah.
And the answer might be surprisingly familiar.
Okay.
Nourishing your body
Okay.
with a healthy diet, regular exercise, good sleep.
Okay.
And don't forget those meaningful social connections.
It sounds like the same stuff we've been hearing forever.
Right.
Eat your vegetables.
It's true, though.
It's easy to get caught up in those quick fixes.
Totally.
But it sounds like these basic habits are still so important.
They're the foundation,
Yeah.
You can't build a strong house on a shaky foundation.
I like that, yeah.
So let's start with diet. He really emphasizes what we eat
Makes sense.
for our brains to function well.
Yeah.
And there's one eating plan that consistently comes up. The Mediterranean diet.
The Mediterranean diet.
Lots of fresh fruits, vegetables, olive oil, fish.
Delicious.
Right.
But that's linked to a better brain.
Right.
Yeah.
Studies show it can lower the risk of cognitive decline
Yeah.
and dementia.
Wow.
It's like a shield for your brain.
So what we choose to eat really affects our brains.
It really does.
What about exercise? I mean, we all know it's good for us.
Right.
But what about our brains?
This is cool.
Okay.
Aerobic exercise, like brisk walking, swimming, even dancing,
Okay.
has been shown to increase the volume of our hippocampus.
Wait, the hippocampus, remind me what that is again?
It's like your brain's memory card, basically.
Okay.
Responsible for forming new memories, learning.
Okay.
When you do aerobic exercise, you're basically giving your memory center a boost.
Wow. So we should be lacing up our sneakers instead of looking for that supplement.
Right.
What about sleep?
Oh, so important.
We've all pulled those all-nighters.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that's not good for us.
You're telling me. The Mayo Clinic, they say that consistently getting less than 7 hours of sleep
Okay.
significantly increases your risk of cognitive decline.
Wow. So we're gambling with our brain health when we don't sleep enough?
Basically, yeah.
Wow.
When we don't prioritize sleep, our brains don't have time to clear out those toxins.
Okay.
Think of it like taking out the garbage. If you don't do it regularly, things start piling up. It gets messy.
So 7 to 8 it is. Okay. So we've got diet, exercise, sleep.
Right.
What about connecting with people?
Oh, that's huge.
He talks about how important that is, but what's the science behind it?
This is really cool. Okay.
Strong social connections, and I mean real, face-to-face,
Okay.
not just scrolling through social media,
Right.
have been shown to reduce the risk of cognitive decline.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
So like being around loved ones, having those conversations, nurturing those bonds.
It's like a superpower for your brain.
Really?
Studies have shown that people with strong social connections have a 50% reduced risk of cognitive decline
50%.
compared to those who are more isolated.
So it's not just good for our soul, it's good for our brain.
Exactly. Our brains thrive on those connections just like they do on healthy food and exercise.
This is incredible, though. It's like
It is pretty amazing.
we have the power, we hold the keys to our own brain health,
Right.
But then it also makes you wonder.
If these simple things work so well,
Yeah.
why is there this huge, boom in the whole mental health and wellness industry right now?
Well, I think it's complicated, right? Because we know these habits are important.
Right.
But being able to see a therapist or a psychiatrist or whoever you need, that can be really hard.
Yeah, not easy to access.
Exactly. And the brain is just, it's so complex.
Yeah.
We're still figuring so much out.
So it's more than just like, hey, everyone, eat your vegetables, you'll be fine.
Exactly. It's not that simple.
Okay, so what's next then?
Well, the industry itself is expected to, explode.
What do you mean?
People are saying it'll be like a $1.5 trillion industry.
Wow, really?
By 2030, just from things like technology and personalized medicine.
Okay, so what kind of technology? I've heard about telehealth.
Telehealth is huge.
Yeah.
Because now people who live far away,
Right.
or maybe they can't leave the house easily,
Right.
they can still see a therapist
It's like having a therapist right here.
right in your pocket. There's apps for everything.
Oh, yeah.
For mindfulness, meditation, even tracking your moods.
Oh, wow.
And some use AI to give you personalized advice.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, you could really personalize your own mental health in a way that we couldn't have even imagined before.
And this is just the beginning, you know?
What about genetics?
Oh, yeah. Pharmacogenomics.
What is that?
They look at your DNA to see which medications will work best for you.
So they're tailoring the treatment based on your genes.
Exactly. Not one size fits all anymore.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
So we've got all this tech, but you also mentioned something about awareness of mental health changing.
Oh, absolutely. The workplace is changing a lot.
Oh, really?
Companies are finally realizing that if their employees are burned out,
Yeah.
it hurts everyone.
Right.
So now they're providing things like, access to therapists,
Okay.
maybe some stress management programs.
So it's more than just like a ping pong table in the break room.
Way more. And they're training managers to recognize if someone's struggling.
That's great.
It's like we're finally taking it seriously,
Yeah, like it's actually important.
Mental health is health.
That's a good way to put it.
And it's good for business,
How so?
When people feel supported, they do better work.
Right, it's true. So just to recap here,
Yeah.
we've got all these incredible advancements in technology happening. We're understanding how to personalize treatment, and businesses are starting to realize that mental health matters.
It's a really exciting time.
It is. But we don't have to wait to start taking care of our brains.
Exactly.
Like we talked about, all those simple things.
The food you eat, moving your body,
Yeah.
sleeping enough,
Yeah,
those things really make a difference.
they do. So as we wrap up here,
Yeah.
what's one small step
I love that question.
that our listeners can take today,
Yes.
to invest in their brain health?
What will you do today?
Maybe call a friend,
I love it.
go for a walk, or just, get some extra sleep.
All great choices.
Thanks for joining us
This is fun.
for this deep dive into the brain.
So fascinating.
And until next time, take care of those incredible brains.
See you next time.